All right, guys, we're back at it again. This is DJ and Shawni at the Culture War, and we got a fun one for you. We had a whole discussion about this, leading up to it. So this one might be a little long, so I'm gonna try to hit through the beats pretty quickly. You want to say anything before we start, Shawni?
Yeah, these people are stupid.
All right, keeping it simple. So, if you haven't heard, there's been an issue with Rachel Nichols and Maria Taylor. These are two broadcasters at ESPN. They cover, Rachel primarily covers the NBA, and Maria covers several other things, including NFL and stuff like that. But it seems like she is taking on the role of covering a lot of NBA stuff as well. So, just to give you the quick brief. So they were in the bubble leading up to the restarted the NBA season, and she was trying to get an interview with LeBron and AD through their publicist, whose name is Mendelsohn. His last name is. And during this call, she sought advice because apparently she's known this guy for a while. So she sought advice from him, PR advice, of how to navigate the situation of ESPN pushing out, and scroll down a little bit, pushing out Rachel here for Maria. And Rachel felt that they were taking her lead sideline reporter role and giving it to Maria, who does not have the same experience, has been in sports media as long. And as Rachel said in her contract, it stated that that was one of the things that she, was assigned and was responsible for. And apparently this video got leaked because she had a camera, and the camera was, I guess, connected to ESPN servers, and it was still on, and it caught her, I guess, in a somewhat hot mic situation where it was still recording, and it sent that recording over to the ESPN server, and someone found it. Someone then recorded it, sent it to a bunch of the black employees inside of ESPN and to Maria Taylor, and then it caused the whole issue. So we're gonna go through this. I'm gonna just talk about what Rachel said, different things that I've seen and found as I've been kind of researching this. So first off, this is the excerpt from the recording where it says, Rachel says, "I just want them to go somewhere else. It's my contract, by the way. It's in my contract, by the way. This job is in my contract in writing." And then Nichols told Mendelsohn, referring to their hosting coverage in the NBA Finals a few minutes after, saying ESPN was feeling the pressure about racial diversity, which she goes on to say that she doesn't care if they're trying to make up for not being diverse and not, including more people. They need to find something else for Maria to do, because this is Rachel's thing. This is in her contract. She deserves to have it.
Yeah, which, I mean, if it's written in your contract, by all means, this is your job. I don't know why, for the love of God, I am super tired of this whole thing about how it's now we need to start just handing black people shit because of the sake of, oh, they're black and they've been oppressed. I'm tired. Whatever happened to earning things? Because at this point, it looks like we're going to have a workforce full of people who just got there off of their skin color, who don't know how to do their damn job or are not very good at doing the job. And it's no longer going to be about, oh, well, this person is actually good for the job. I had a conversation about this with an uncle and a family friend a couple months ago. And I was like, you guys were all like, oh, yeah, black people getting all these jobs. Why aren't you happy about that? And I was like, because there's going to be one of these days where there's going to be somebody who, yes, they are black like myself, is going to get the job, but not because they know what they're doing. They're going to get the job over me just for the sake of diversity purposes.
And they're going to use it as leverage.
And I'm going to be out looking for another job because some bimbo or some dummy got a job that I easily could have gotten because I am qualified to do it, but I just didn't hit the diversity quota because I didn't leverage that. And I'm not going to leverage that because that's dumb. You have here Rachel Nichols, who's been in sports media, sports journalism specifically, since the mid 90s. She's been working for ESPN for since like 2003, 2004.
Rachel, yes.
Yeah.
And then she briefly went to CNN, and then she went back in 2016.
And then she came back. Like, Rachel is not new to ESPN. She's not new to sports media. She's not new to any of this.
Sports media in general, she's been doing it since
the mid 90s. Like, this is someone who is a veteran in this career path. This is someone who is also has seniority within this network. And the fact that we're really even having this conversation about pushing her aside that for something that is actually contractually in her contract, it is written in her contract for her to do this coverage, is ridiculous within itself. From a seniority standpoint and from a legal contractual standpoint, this is ridiculous. And this is all because Maria Taylor wants more money. She wants more money and she wants more shine because she feels it's owed to her because she's a black woman. And you're not owed anything in this life. The only thing you're owed in this life is being compelled to pay your taxes and die. That's it.
Well, if you want to be a G, you cannot pay your taxes. But
you can die in prison if that's the case. I mean, either way, that's the only thing. You want to die free or you want to die in prison?
Anyway. But as Shawni stated, so before this article came out, which is something that interested me, was that Maria Taylor was offered a job by ESPN because her contract is about to expire. So she was offered a new contract for $5 million a year, about $5 million a year. She turned that down and she stated that she wanted Stephen A. Smith money and Mike Greenberg money. Mike Greenberg makes about 6.5, I think, a year and million a year, and I believe, well, Stephen A. They show Stephen A. It's $8 million a year. So she wants to be in the range of anywhere from 6.5 to 8 million. And I'm assuming she wants to be closer to that 8 million.
Now, mind you, Greenberg has been working for ESPN for like 20 years. Yeah. Stephen A. has been with ESPN for over 20 years at this point, probably too.
I would say, yeah.
Yeah.
Well over 20.
Well over 20 years. Those are two people who have earned the money. I know
Greeny, I think it's almost 30 for Greeny.
Yeah, it's almost 30 for Greeny. Those are two people who have earned the money they make. They have earned the positions they have. They've earned the shows that they have. They've earned the responsibilities that they are given as, you know, working for the network. What in the hell is this heifer earned? She literally, it says what, 2000, it says 2009 to present that she's worked for ESPN.
We'll go to her.
But in reality, she's only been covering college sports up until 2019 when she began hosting NBA Countdown.
Yeah, and it says it right here. In 2019, Taylor began hosting the NBA Countdown, a pre-game show for ESPN on Friday nights and Sunday afternoon games. And then, so she wasn't even full-time. She only did it specifically for Friday nights and Sunday afternoon. And then she was sidelined. She was sideline reporting in Steelers game in New York.
And technically, 2009 to present is the years active that she's been working in sports journalism. Yeah. So in reality, she joined in 2013.
Yes.
With ESPN 2.
Yes.
So she hasn't been working here nearly as long as Greeny, Stephen A, or Rachel.
And it was primarily college. Because if you go through from 2013 to about 2018, she was working the college scene within ESPN and the various, Fox News and stuff like that. So she's only recently really been working like the pro scene in NBA and NFL. And
honestly, from what I'm reading here from her wiki, it seems like she's quite comfortable and now would be a pattern of replacing white hosts, because in 2017 she replaced Samantha Ponder and was an ESPN reporter for college football playoff between University of Georgia and the University of Oklahoma. And if you just scroll over Samantha Ponder's name over there, we'll know exactly what race she is. Yeah. So it seems like Maria is in the trying to make it a habit now to kind of take over for where white hosts are.
I'm assuming Maria is because. And another thing I noticed in a lot of these articles, if I can quickly find it. Okay, so in the Times article, in this article, it shows that she basically she got criticism for talking about George Floyd's murder on ESPN. She was highlighting it a lot. And the Times article specifically says that's when she started getting a lot of prominence, is around that time. So what I've noticed is that she is somebody that is heavily on the activism train, and I wouldn't be surprised if she is someone that is willing to leverage her how would you say it, her privilege as a black reporter, and leverage that to be able to get the positions that she's getting now, and use it as, well, you said you're an ally, you said you're so on and so forth, I deserve this, that, and the third.
I mean, it says right below here that she initially told them that she wouldn't work the rest of the season, but then decided to host NBA Countdown when ESPN said that Rachel wouldn't appear on the show.
Yes.
But then...
And that was through the fallout of what happened. She said that she wouldn't appear, and the Times article says it too. She wouldn't appear on the NBA Countdown as long as Rachel was on the NBA Countdown.
But at this point, it was already contractually written into Rachel's contract that she would appear on the show. So in order to get their way around this and to, I guess, appease all parties, which legally they had to do for Rachel, they decided to do Rachel's portions of the show pre-recorded, so that way she wouldn't have to be on air with Maria Taylor. Maria Taylor, who apparently wants to have her cake and eat it, and everybody else's cake and eat that too, felt as though that was a problem, and felt as though that was them breaking the agreement that she had with them. And I'm like, ma'am, it was legally written into Rachel's contract for her to work this job. Why do you feel as though your needs that you've only just now decided have become such a big damn deal should override something that is legally written into someone's contract?
So this is what it said: due to fallout, basically, to avoid having Taylor and Nichols interact, all of Nichols' appearances on NBA Countdown this season were pre-recorded, but often in a way to make the segments appear as if they were live. Appearances by other sideline reporters were a mixture of live and pre-recorded. And then it says shortly after the playoffs, however, However, ESPN executives said that if Taylor continued to refuse to interact with Nichols on air, no reporters would be allowed on the show live. The NBA Countdown pushed back, but it didn't work. The executives still went through it, and their idea was basically they wanted it to be fair for everybody. And Rachel actually says she preferred the consistency in the way the show used the reporters, because at least at this point everybody is being treated the same. But it seems as though Maria and her friends, who are also up here, LaChina Robinson and then Malika Andrews, it seems that she wanted to have, like Shawni said, her cake and eat it too, be able to still do the live showing with the, Perk and Richard Jefferson, whoever ends up being on NBA Countdown as other analysts or co-hosts. She wanted to be able to do that and have her people, LaChina Robinson and Malika Andrews, do the sideline reporting as well live, but she didn't want Rachel to be there.
So basically what it was is she wanted for everything about NBA Countdown to be blackety black, because she felt as though that's where it's going. This is the problem I have with this movement, is there's no balance. The whole idea is to just shove anybody else who's not black out of the way to push black people forward. And what you're doing is a form of nepotism. You're really just giving people a job.
Well, it is nepotism because her friends. Well, yes,
because she's friends with them. Yeah, she's here. She's trying to put her friends on, and her friends don't even have the credentials to be pushed forward that quickly. Like, you've got LaChina here, who was hired in.
Her name is LaChina.
I'm not even going to dispute. I'm not going to dispute names. It is what it is. She was hired in 2009, but she didn't become a full season reporter until 2010.
Right.
And then it seems like after that, she kind of just did what? Like, she looks like she also did college games and the WNBA, because there's a picture over here of her at the 2017 WNBA.
Which is basically they shuffled you off to do all or nothing.
Yeah.
Because you haven't really earned that spot.
Yeah.
And then from Malika is even more interesting. She started sports journalism in 2017, fresh off an internship.
Yeah, and she introduced herself to Woj during Summer League, and then
Summer League 2017,
and then got a job.
Which is not on this one, but it's on her wiki. So if you want to look at that, it says specifically that she introduced herself to Woj. From there, Woj, I'm assuming used his connections to help her get on ESPN, and she's been on it here ever since. And to be honest, she fits a look. She's pretty. They really like their female sideline reporters to be pretty and cute.
Yeah.
So there you go.
Yeah.
She's young. She's 24-ish. About probably 25. Yeah. So yeah.
But I've seen, what's interesting is this is now becoming kind of a pattern that's kind of happened in the past couple of years, where I've seen people who have been, seasoned workers in ESPN get pushed aside for this. I guess it's like their diversity initiative. Look at Beatles. Look at Michelle.
Beatles is gone.
Yeah, look at Beads. We haven't seen. It was her first name was Michelle, right?
Yeah.
We haven't seen her in forever. There's also, and then of course they also, yeah. So you also have someone like Sage Steele. Sage Steele was hosting. Was it NBA Countdown, or was it just she was doing?
It was straight ESPN.
I think it was just when they would do the pre-show game. They would do the pre-game show.
I think it was the
with her and Jalen Rose, and I forgot who else was on there.
That might have been Countdown.
That might have been Countdown at the time.
It
was her, Jalen, and the one with the pretty eyes, but I really can't stand how he's constantly wrong. He's a Celtics fan. He's got really bright blue eyes and gray hair. I want to say his name is Bill, but I'm not positive.
Bill
Yes, Bill Simmons. It was her, Jalen, and Bill Simmons. And Sage Steele had came out and made some remarks about the travel ban. What was it, in 2016?
16 or 17?
2016 or 17, she came out and made some remarks about the travel ban, and they shuffled Sage to the backpack. And Sage is a black woman. They shuffled her to the backpack because she didn't fit the talking points of what ESPN wanted. That's the problem I'm having right now, is if you don't fit the politics, if you don't fit the skin color, you're getting shuffled off. It's really trash to know that you work so hard to have a career, and something as simple as you having a disagreement about something going on in the general world, and you just talk about it, and then boom, that's it, you're fired, or you're shuffled off to some dungeon where nobody ever sees her again, because she looked like she had gotten her, she was front and center. They were doing the pregame show, and I think the postgame, or it was either pregame and postgame, or it was just pregame and halftime, the halftime report. I think they were pregame and halftime report. And then she was just gone with no word. The last time I saw Sage was randomly. She was, I think she might have been in the bubble. I think she might have been talking to somebody, doing an interview in the bubble. I think she might have been talking to someone in on Miami last summer. I can't remember, but I feel like I've seen Sage recently, but she's in a far diminished role than what she had before.
So briefly, I also want to talk about so there was a Deadspin article. Apparently Deadspin got the four minutes version of the full 20 minutes version of the call, and it was edited, and Deadspin took it as the approach of this is creepish and the fact that her this reporter's privacy, and they were going at it from the angle of female reporter's privacy, was violated, and that she had to, this is confidential trust. It goes on ESPN. Deadspin basically framed it as they didn't feel like it wasn't a good show of allyship or anything like that. And so ESPN apparently was very worried when that article came out, and that article came out in 2020 and in July, and they were worried that Rachel was going to use that in terms of a lawsuit. But Rachel then said that she only got a lawyer because she wanted to understand how the investigatory process was going to work. So she got a lawyer to make sure that it, you know,
Right.
it was on the up and up, and there was no funny business going on with that investigation, basically. All right. So then to continue, because I also want to talk about this part, which is more of where they're talking about basically this coming back up again in this playoffs in 2021. So they said, I already talked about that idea was to have everyone treated the same, and that's why they weren't doing the live shows. So apparently on May 22nd, the first day of the NBA playoffs, the tensions exploded between those worked on the show and ESPN executives in charge of the basketball side of ESPN. On the pre-show call involving the stars of the show, production and the production staff in both Los Angeles, New York, Taylor insisted to an executive that she'd be able to conduct live interviews with the sideline reporters. She brought up the recorded phone conversation. So she brought up the conversation to use as leverage to be able to do live interviews. Woj then jumped in and called Nichols a bad teammate, which I don't really know why he jumps in and says Nichols was being a bad teammate when it was Maria Taylor that brought up the fact that the phone call happened and that recording got leaked, and she's now using that to be able to obfuscate what ESPN put in place to try and treat everybody fairly, which is she wanted to do live interviews. Then Jalen Rose said that ESPN had asked a lot of their black employees over the past year, but he and other black employees would extend their credibility to the company no longer. I feel like that would not extend their credibility to the company any longer. Taylor, whom executives had asked numerous times to change her interaction with Nichols, said that the only people that were punished were women of color. So she brings up herself, Lisa Salters, Cassidy Hubrick, and Cassidy Andrews, who we just talked about just a moment ago, received lesser assignments so Nichols could have her lead side. Malika. I said
Cassidy Andrews.
I'm sorry. Malika. So basically those reporters she was claiming that those reporters received lesser roles, so Nichols could have her lead sideline reporter role, and now we're not being allowed to appear on live shows, but that's in her contract to do.
That's Rachel Nichols has that in her contract that this would be her job. This is really, and I'm not gonna lie, I'm very disappointed in Woj, because Woj and Rachel have worked together for quite a long time on ESPN, and it's just really weird how Woj decided to just insert himself. Oh, look at me, I'm an ally, I'm coming to bat for you. Like, that's what it sounds like to me, because it says that Pitaro spoke with Taylor and Woj at the same time, and then spoke to Woj alone.
Alone.
Yeah.
After the incident.
So
I asked if the status quo should be returned. Where they would do live shows.
Right.
And they eventually, ESPN and Pietro, I guess, basically, Pitaro, they rescinded the restrictions that they had. And mind you, those restrictions are only there at this point in time because of the situation between Maria and Nichols, and the fact that Maria Taylor did not want Nichols on NBA Countdown, and she would not appear on NBA Countdown unless Rachel wasn't on the show.
There is one of these articles that you have up here that says that Rachel tried to reach out to her to apologize.
Yeah, that's in the apology.
Yeah, and she reached out to her directly to apologize, as well as she publicly apologized. And apparently Maria Taylor refused to speak to her. I couldn't see where exactly it was where she said, like, it's in this article where she says, like, why she doesn't want to speak to her or whatever. Yeah, so apparently Maria Taylor has chosen not to respond, which, I mean, sure, she's got the right to do so, but also, why do we have Jalen Rose and Woj and Jay Williams apparently?
That's where I saw Jay. I knew I saw Jay in here somewhere.
Yeah, apparently out here trying to make Rachel Nichols look like the bad guy, like she's some sort of villain, when in reality this conversation that got recorded was a conversation between her and someone who she had saw at the time as a confidant and a friend, and she was more so seeking advice on how to handle ESPN, the network, her employers not how to handle Maria Taylor. It wasn't about Maria Taylor. I like how Maria Taylor then decides to make this about her and turn it into a big thing to leverage herself to get more money.
It's because Rachel specifically said that she felt that they were pushing Taylor in order to and taking away things that were hers in order to prop her up, Maria Taylor up, in order to feel better about themselves.
Which is what they're doing. They are trying to prop up somebody in order to get their woke points, which is even worse. Like, you've got someone who not only has seniority, but it's in their contract. Like, we have to keep saying this. This is in her contract. Legally, that is binding. They need to give her whatever responsibilities it is she is due for in her contract to do.
I brought this up again before, but I like how when Taylor, whom executives had numerous times asked her to change her interactions with Nicholas, said she quickly deflects and then says, "We're the only ones being punished for this because Rachel gets to keep her contractual agreement."
Yeah, like that doesn't, like, what did they, because it's basically she's saying you need to break your contract with Rachel in order to make me happy, to do what I want you to do.
Or I'm going to make a stink about it.
Or I'm going to make a big fuss about it.
And people who back me, i.e. a lot of the woke black individuals within ESPN, such as your Jalen Rose, your Jay Wills, your Richard Jeffersons.
Richard Jefferson, personally, to me, is a bandwagoner. Okay, that's what I personally think.
I
think he's always been. I think he's a bandwagoner. He was a bandwagoner in his career, and I feel like he's a bandwagoner now, personally.
So, we'll briefly touch on Rachel's apology. So she says, Rachel basically said, the first thing they teach you in journalism school is don't be the story, and I don't plan to break the rule today or distract from fantastic finals, but I also don't want to let this moment pass without saying how much I respect, how much I value our colleagues here at ESPN, how deeply sorry I am for disappointing those I hurt, particularly Maria Taylor, how grateful I am to be a part of this outstanding team. And you can hear that here in this little video clipping on Twitter. And then so Perk says, which, look at the different languages, because Kendrick Purchase is not brought up in terms of having any disagreement with what's going on. He is extremely neutral, and you can see it in what he's saying here. And he seems to even kind of back up Rachel a little bit here. So he says, well, Rachel, I want to say thank you. Thank you for accepting responsibility for your actions. As someone that has known you for a very long time, being around you, you have treated me with the utmost respect, and you've always made me feel comfortable in your presence. I know your heart, great person, great individual. I also know Maria, great person as well, very talented, very talented, hardworking, and I feel like she also deserves every opportunity that is presented her way. My only hope is that we have a commitment overall to support each other through this process and continue to support each other through our journey. And I'm assuming he means respective journeys. So very neutral. Not necessarily taking the time. Seems to be more so backing Rachel than Maria. Very neutral. Richard Jefferson comes out his pocket. Jumps out the gate. I fully support Maria Taylor. I worked with her since I joined ESPN, and I've known Rachel for 20 years. Rachel and our entire... I like how he sneaks in. I've known Rachel for 20 years. Rachel and our entire group here have had some very difficult conversations over this time period, and those conversations don't end here. We will continue to have uncomfortable conversations. No one is excused. She is not excused. I am not excused. Perk, this doesn't go away, but we have to learn and understand and become better for each other, really through our actions more than anything, and that is our responsibility. In
short, what Richard Jefferson is really saying is that Rachel Nichols needs to step aside and allow Maria Taylor to just do what, get what she wants. It's not about what Rachel Nichols has worked to build at this point in her career. It really is just, I support Maria, and he wants to be on the right side of things. I like how he then makes a note to say to Perk, like what Kendrick Perkins said wasn't okay, or it wasn't the proper statement.
I gotta hear it in context.
And then to slide in there then to slide in there, I've known Rachel for 20 years. I'm not going to lie. I'm not surprised that a lot of these people who've worked with her, a lot of these ball players, Jalen Rose, Jay Will, Kendrick Perkins, Richard Jefferson, these are all people who she's interviewed through the course of her career at one time or another. And now they've made their equal transitions into sports media versus, after their respective retirements. And now they've all become colleagues and coworkers. And you mean to tell me that you now are going to say, oh, I've known Rachel for 20 years, not even speak to anything about her character, not even say, Rachel isn't the type of person to, she's you can outright say she's not a bigot. You can outright say she's not a racist. You can know she's a good person, but not even to say that. You are that much of a little bitch to just be looked at in the eyes of whoever you may feel are giving you them woke bucks, whether it be Maria or whoever else at this network, to feel as though, Richard Jefferson's, he's black and he's on our side, the blackity black force at ESPN. I like how literally you just snaked somebody who you've known for 20 years, a close colleague of yours, for somebody who you just met in 2019?
Oh, I don't know when he's met her. So whenever he met her.
Like, what? All because you guys share a similar skin color? Bye.
It's pretty ridiculous. So I think I've basically, and me and Shawni have basically beat this dead horse for right now. So just to summarize, it just looks like, because the timing of it is extremely convenient to when her contract and the news about her contract and what she wanted from her contract came up. She wants to be paid essentially the equal to, if not more than, the two highest paid people on ESPN. Michael Wilbon and several other people don't even make that much money. Michael Wilbon, I think, makes around $4 million a year or something like that, or about $5 million, something along those lines. She turned down a $5 million offer to get Stephen A. Smith money. They specifically keep referring Stephen A. Smith money
because he's the highest paid.
Yes, he is the highest paid on it, and he's getting $8 million. Yeah. So I don't know if she wants to match it or go higher, but that's what she's looking at. So now what's happening and why this story has come out, and I don't know if New York Times is working with her, or they just, because it seemed pretty neutral. So I don't think they have a dog in this race necessarily, but she's using the phone call that happened with Rachel as leverage to get more exposure and to get more money. And it's not necessarily deserved, and it doesn't seem like she earned it. So at this stage, what I'm seeing is this is somebody who is in contract negotiations using whatever means they need to use to get what they want. And even in the SI article, it says more than likely whoever she goes to, no matter what it is, and Shawni to put the qualifier post-pandemic, is not going to give her that money. ESPN is probably her best shot to get that. You gonna add to finish up with anything?
Yeah, this girl can go jump off a cliff, respectfully.
All right, well, I guess that's how we're gonna end it. So again, appreciate you guys. This is probably the most concise I've been in a video. I did a good job. Patting myself on the back. Don't care if you guys do. So again, like, comment, subscribe. Let me know how I'm doing. Let me know if you think Shawni should speak up more, or I should should talk a little quieter. I don't know. Just let me know what's going on. Links in the description for my other socials. I need to update my Odyssey, and I haven't put anything on BitChute yet, but they're there if you want to subscribe preemptively. And those are going to be used as my backups, and hopefully I can put out exclusive stuff for those platforms as well, stuff that I can't necessarily talk about on YouTube because YouTube's full of shit. So yeah, thank you guys for listening, and this has been DJ and Shawni from the Culture War.
See ya.
Bye.
I got me some power, yeah.